Discussing activating circular retail, the panel will decode on the fundamentals of building circular business models.
The focus will be to understand what needs to change in the current business models to drive circularity, what are the most successful circular products and business models, and exploring the market segmentation interests between Gen Z and millennials for circular business models.
This panel will be moderated by Maria Mokhova, Senior Fashion Editor at El Oficial Ukraine and co-founder at White Rabbit Agency. Take it away, Maria.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Circular Fashion Summit, the sustainability panel. Today, we're speaking about activating circular retail. My name is Maria Mokhova, and I'll be moderating this discussion with wonderful professionals of the industry. And we'll speak about the fundamentals of building the circular fashion business model. And our focus today is to understand what are the biggest challenges that we face on various stages of product life cycle, how do we close the loop, and what are the most successful circular product business models. So I'd like to begin with each speaker introducing herself, and let's start with Ebru Özkutu-Guler from ISCO company.
Thank you, Maria. Nice to be together with all of you. This is Ebru. I'm responsible for Head of Sustainability in ISCO, and for 15 years I'm working at ISCO. And right now, what we are doing exactly to be a good and partner instead of just a supplier, could be a good partner to our customers. In the same time, how we can handle our supply chain in a proper way with rules, adaptations, proper certifications. We are trying to build up a proper sustainable approach with third-party verifications and partnerships. Thanks so much.
And Marie-Laure Pied-Noir from Salomon.
Thank you, Maria. Hi, everyone. And so I'm Marie-Laure. I'm from France because Salomon is located in France, in Annecy, in the French Alps. My role at Salomon is to lead the sustainability strategy, vision, and its implementation in the different business units of Salomon. And we have quite a huge work of building this whole program, which is called Time Ready program, moving forward and bringing impact to the planet and society.
Thank you. And Ellie Tan from K11, please tell us a bit about yourself.
Thanks, Maria. Nice to meet everyone. This is Ellie Tang. I'm based in Hong Kong. So I head up the sustainability function of New York Group, which is a diversified conglomerate listed in Hong Kong with businesses in properties and other sectors across Greater China. I'm also the head of sustainability for K11, which is our brand that pioneered this art and commerce model over 10 years ago, starting from our very first art mall in Hong Kong, and then we expand to Shanghai, and we're currently also in Guangzhou, Wuhan, and the rest of China, with over 10 properties in not only retail now, but also office buildings and service departments. So yeah, looking forward to hearing everyone's work in driving circularity.
Thank you, Ellie, and of course, Laura Koppen of Zalando. Hello.
Thanks, Maria, and hi everyone. I'm Laura Koppen and I head up circularity at Zalando. I started at Zalando in January, and my role and responsibilities lie with setting the circularity strategy. We've been building a team, and we've also been launching several circular opportunities for our customers and for our business partners this year. Great to be with you today.
ISCO R2 program is something that I was really excited to learn more about. And it states that you produce fabric using 50% recycled raw materials and you blend them with virgin ones. In this way, you create a much lower carbon and water footprint. Do you see yourselves moving to 100% use of recycled materials in the nearest future? I hope you do. And if yes, what is your roadmap for this?
Indeed, more than what you mentioned, we are also so excited because it's a kind of great initiative. In the meantime, a hard job, because of course everybody says using the 20, 40, 50, even around the industry, you see that 100% recycled denim, you see the news. But what is true one? Not only making, the something sustainable, let's say, or something, with recycle. In the meantime, you have to do something fashion, great, durable, and serves when you are making customer, the happy, in the shoppers happy. In the meantime, it should be an all-time partner in your wardrobe. That's why we believe in circularity starts with more than, the losing it, instead of, keeping it, the durable in your wardrobe. That's why innovation with fiber, this is where we start the journey. That's why R2 is our recall fiber technology, our core span technology. So with recycled cotton and recycled polyester, we make a fiber technology, and with this fiber technology, we make the blends, and more than 50%. Why 50%? I will also, like to explain a bit more. We would like to do fabric, but it's not only a collection, a capsule collection. All our production as ISCO, more than 85% of it right now, with high percentage of recycled blends. We would like to keep recycled material and not touch, the virgin material, natural sources. And we believe that, also supporting biodiversity is also the choices of your raw material. That's why not touching the natural sources and, using the recycle to maintain or to receive fashion is very tough, but in the meantime, great. That's why we are doing it. So why 50%? One of my colleagues in Textile Exchange said that everybody, they have the book, but, some of them reading the book. So it's very well known to make shopper to trace B2C traceability of the recycled content can be done with global recycled certificates of the Textile Exchange. And to make it happen on garments, more than 50% of the product garment should have recycled content. And with QR codes, with the ability of the digital life that provides you, the shopper can trace the journey of the recycled material from sourcing stage to the end use stage. That's why we try to make life easy, also the supply chain after us for tier 1 and for the brand. That's why we are using more than 50, and we would like to add a value with traceability of the recycled content. That's why our 250 plus that we really strongly believe in. Right now we already achieved around 80-85%. So 50 to 85%, we managed to do it. So if you ask me 100%, of course, why not? In a very close date. But as I said, recycled material with certified man-made cellulosic fibers, adding next to it. So we would like to leave cotton. We would like to leave conventional cotton. That's the aim. Any kind of conventional virgin material, we would like to keep not doing it with them. So this is the target. But at ISCO, we are putting our targets close. That's why hopefully we can provide, this kind of collection by end of 2022, beginning of 2023, with full recycled and certified man-made cellulosic fiber, the items.
And what has been the biggest challenge in this, sourcing the previously used materials and then reworking them into new fibers?
I'm not trying to say a marketing sentence, but the reality is challenge is always an opportunity. If you see the challenge as a kind of opportunity, then you get the taste. Then you would like to solve it, let's say. And recycled material, of course, in that story, the rules of the governments, the import-export, the issues are very important. But the reality is, we have a target. We had a target in 2018, Maria. We said zero waste in ISCO. When you are targeting zero waste, making your collection around 80-85% recycled content is a kind of cross-corner, vice versa, what you are doing. So we said solving the problem in ISCO, in Sanko is not enough. So there is also waste out of us. And to be a solution provider for the industry, we cannot close, our doors. And only making, the rigid to recycle is not also an option. That's why any kind of blend, especially cotton and polyester blend of fabrics. Right now we have a system that we can just revert to everything to recycled material. This is where we're really proud of. And right now we are sourcing, the spray post, the materials in Turkey, and we have facilities all around the world to do it in the proper way. But under Sanko umbrella, we have our own recycled cotton center. We'll be starting, by end of this year. Also today, under ISCO umbrella, we have our own recycled polyester facility. That's why for us to check, the every level from collection to fiber to fabric level is under control of us. All done under same, the umbrella.
So in a way, this challenge created a lot of business opportunities for you, to expand into new areas of business as well, which is good for the company.
I can say, when you look, the tier, let's say tiers, I think for the brands and especially for the shoppers, after tier 2 is the black area, because it's easy to check the ID of the brands, and also, it's easy to check with the inside pockets written by the tier 1 information, everything. So after tier 2, which starts with us, we have to make kitchen ready, clean, and safe. That's why the challenges is, the after tier 3, tier 4. But this challenge for us, honest way of saying, it was not a challenge, because even Sanko is our supplier. Our mother company is our supplier in fiber. That's why innovation and development starts in the fiber stage in us for making, the fabric and fabric innovation. So you are absolutely right. The challenge for the industry to keep up the same harmony, the strategy, the single strategy, and also asking, the default question to every single supplier, every single tier is not fair as well. That's why understanding and making empathy with all is very important. When you Google best hierarchy, you see a pyramid and starts with saying, the first reduce, then reuse, recycle, but it's not same for all suppliers. For the brand, it can start, with different. For the tier 1, tier 2, for chemical suppliers, totally different. So how much you have to reuse, how much you have to recycle, dispose, of course, not an option, but also resell, the repair is very important. So we have also a creative room service facility under ISCO service umbrella. That's why before also recycling, in circularity management team, we are offering options to our customers. What can be done proper way with the waste, and if we cannot, repair or make a second life, then we should recycle. This is our way under circularity team. So sustainability is not only a division. That's why I'm very proud that every single division in ISCO, R&D, sales, marketing, product marketing, all the divisions, sustainability is a KPI. So what we are doing starts with it. What we receive as the output starts, and every single process have its own life cycle assessment values. So we challenge ourselves to do better, and we like the competition in sustainability. If somebody does 2 instead of 3 in carbon footprint of any process, welcome. So it means we have to do 1. So it's great to see, everything.
Cool. Yes. If someone, what I was saying, if someone does a better job than you, for example, yes,
welcome.
And it inspires you, to work hard.
Of course, welcome. The only thing that we want, please show the proofs, and we have to provide to brand and the shopper apple and apple, not apple and banana comparison. And that's why I'm always saying that if the marketing budget of the company is more than sustainable investment budget, let's be careful about it, because showing an arrow in the green background by saying 70% is meaningless. As far as the second page, you cannot from A to B where it comes. That's why we also, the part of EMF and science-based targets. In Turkey, only 17 companies confirmed commit for 1.5. And I'm so proud to say that by October, we also commit by 2030 lower than 2 degrees for science-based targets initiatives as well.
Oh, that's incredible, because I think here we all understand that 1.5 is not enough to make a real change, as we saw in COP26. But let's get back to our conversation. What has been feedback from your clients, the brands, the garment producers on the new fabric that was, as you say, almost 85% made of recycled yarn?
Many questions.
And also the quality. Has there been any change in quality? Because that is very important, of course.
You already summarized the question, the questions, because first of all, it's so great, that we are receiving many questions. The questions are, at the end of the day, denim is a kind of fabric, lives with you. Denim is not like any, the life habits, what you wear, where you travel, how you sit, or how many times you wear. Denim lives with you. It's a part of your life, not only your wardrobe. That's why when you are wearing denim, of course, in parentheses, sustainable, proper, the traceable should be. But in the meantime, you have to still get the taste of denim during your life. I always say, black dress and the denim, that the white shirt, should always be around, for life. And when we are doing it sustainable, let's say, I'm repeating the same word even I don't like too much to say it, let's say responsible, but we have to keep the DNA of denim. The wash downs, when you make, this kind of high percentage of recycled content, the wash downs shouldn't look like each other, shouldn't be cloudy, shouldn't be gray, shouldn't be boring. And that can only be done with the technology. It starts with the fiber technology. That's why I'm so proud to say we are making ring. The textile people will understand. Instead of open on the air, and we can make the ring spun with the the recycled content. So it's a bit also the good and make the difference. And that's why the last week in the textile exchange and the week after before, in SAP meetings, even the COP26, everybody talks about durability, even in the policy hub. So they said 30 years. For denim, 30 years is nothing. Because denim ID starts with the workwear. It should be, you should not wear it only if you, let's say, bored about it. It should be always there. So thinking about your denim after 1 month wear for your back garden is not the denim. It's something else. It's maybe sustainable, but it's not denim. So we want denim to live with you, to keep it there. But let's say you don't want it anymore. There should be a circular model to adopt it in another life. That's why we are also preparing that stage. So product environment footprint of the fabric affects all closed loop functions. That's why we are supporting the other suppliers plus the brand, how we can receive a circle at that area.
That's great what you've been doing. And also one more question, and by the way, all the speakers here, you're welcome to jump in if you have something to add, to comment, to ask. Please feel free to. As a fabric producer, you stand at the very first stages of product life cycle, as you have mentioned. And where do you see opportunities to close the loop more effectively with the help of retailers and final consumers? How to make this truly circular? Because one of the biggest problems, and not a problem, challenges and opportunities in our industry is that it is so big and versatile and with so many stages of every product. And there is no, even in terms of ideas, there's no singular system. How do we track the traceability of the garment? How do we put it back into the cycle, make it reuse the fibers and so on and so on. So what are your thoughts on that?
Maria, I will answer this question as Ebru, not as, the head of one of the biggest mills in the world. I don't believe sustainability is like a religion, everybody believes, its own way. No, it's like diving. I don't know if anyone of us experienced diving. There are rules and you have to adopt the rules. And if you don't adopt the rules, you cannot survive. Diving is this much simple, this much dangerous, this much, the fast fantastic, but it's like diving. Rules are certain. You have to follow it. First, you have to choose proper raw material. If the raw material, you cannot push any supplier to do it. You have to teach it, you have to support it, you have to invest it. And then when you are producing, because we are producing semi-raw material, and the semi-raw material adaptation for circularity, that are the items, but at the end, what I put in the fabric, there should be a life, when the product life ends. So I cannot say because of this only make 100% rigid fabrics. This is not also the reality. So if I use, the man-made cellulosic fibers in it, then I have to be ready with the technology to give a life to this product for closing the loop. That's why, as I said at the beginning, not wait for someone to do it. We try to adapt it. We try to do it as well. And recently we did. And right now, with our, some key stakeholders, key partners, we are start this, the facility, because our tool is something with recycled material we are using. But we have to also provide a chance for the waste out of box, how it should be treated. That's why we are, of course, following, the canopy hot button. We are following, and we are never say XYZ supplier. We say functions, certifications, verifications. These are very important, and we are supporting this. As I said, otherwise, be part of the journey of greenwashing never be an option for anyone. That's why instead of, I'm so happy to be part of this management philosophy that say, instead of doing something wrong, let's do nothing and wait and do something proper. Of course, we have, the all stories for micro-sharing. We have all stories for biodegradability. But we always, in our R&D center, make our test for, with universities, with, the different coaches to make it proper with the consortiums. Otherwise, let's say it is not an option for us. We always wait for the test results and the solutions. So we try to make also the SMEs who are following, like brands, big names, how they have followers as a trendsetter. If you are a very big manufacturer, you also have followers like SMEs. They would like to believe something. If you can manage, they inspire and they said, we can do it as well. That's why we have to be very careful about our steps, and we are doing it so far. But thanks to hundreds, the years company, that we don't have to do sustainability nowadays. It has been done for a long time. That's why plate is ready for us.
Thank you, Ebru. I think actually your words on the management philosophy. So it's better to wait and do right and explore more options and dive in deeper.
Huge investments.
Do it now and do it not as good as you wanted. I think that is a very sustainable way, to approach everything. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Marie.
I'd like to speak now to Marie-Laure from Solomon. So your company is doing a remarkable job on sustainable development as well as all of the present ones. And you do it through all stages of product life cycle. Yet when we speak of circularity and closing the loop, it's not only about the product development and production and selling it. It involves fabric suppliers and as well as the reuse, for example, some options. So what are your ideas on that?
Thank you, Maria. The first thing is that at Solomon, what we took some time to define is what is our vision definition also about circularity, because there can be many. And in our brand, in the Solomon world, we have actually different business units that are very that having their own culture, because we have hard goods and soft goods, snow sports, trail running, hiking, etc. So these communities are bringing a very specific sports culture with also specific visions. And one of my role and the work we are currently doing at Solomon is really finding a common ground for circularity. And we've decided that the best version of circularity we rely on, and which would be the simplest, is the one from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, with the 3 pillars around making products from renewable or recycled safe inputs, a third pillar around use more, and the last one which is really about how to recycle, make product to be made again. And I actually like the way it is said. It's not recycle pillar, but it's more about make a product that can be made again. And to go to the action that we do at Salomon, we've developed the first fully recyclable performance running shoe, which is called the Index 01, which was released this spring. And this is exactly what it is about this pillar that I was talking about. This is about making a shoe that can be made again. And it's not just about finding solution about the end of life, but how we can design it in a way that it's way simpler, that it's sourcing materials that are easy to recycle. And this whole thinking process is bringing a product that then you can actually recycle. So that's the kind of actions we've been doing on this pillar about, I would say, recycle. We've been working a little bit also about how to use more the products. And as we are a product company, this for the moment, our work is really more focused about how to make durable products like we do for our snowboard equipment. We've been putting a strong focus on how we can make durable snowboards and make them repairable with lifetime warranty about the binding, so that the snowboarders can really enjoy their gear and repair it on their lifetime. We've been less exploring what actually Zalando is exploring a lot. It's about second-hand re-commerce, which we naturally do through I would say winter sports, because we have a strong relationships with our retailers, and it's been the business model we've always been applying through them to the end consumers. Rental into the ski resorts is actually quite a standard, but it's really not what it is for the sports goods area about Salomon, but running shoes, where you basically buy your hiking gear or running gear, and this is just a one-off. And if I close the loop, coming back to the first pillar about making products that are made from safe, renewable or recycled material, we've been working on that like any company, and I won't detail way more what we did, because Ebru already paved the way very clearly about what needs to be done. So first, you integrating more sustainable material is kind of a given, something that we have to do, like working with safe chemicals. One interesting thing is that beyond just making products with inputs that are safe and renewable and sustainable, we asked us the question how we can also think systematically about how we manufacture the products. And this is why we've launched recently a local shoe factory, which is called ASA 4.0, which is located in France, and it is really a first try of how we can relocate the sneakers or running shoe, hiking shoe production, footwear production in France, from where it is now massively based on the expertise of Asia and production of Asia. And so we just launched this factory this year. It was open this year, and it's going to be producing shoes from next year. And we're super happy, because it's going to bring a lot of forward thinking about what is circularity. Once you locate a production close to the consumers or European consumers, you know that when you are going to think about circularity, you don't have to face the problem that we have for the moment, is that how we ship back the products, the materials, the end of materials to where they are produced. And it's a first step also on how to close the loop about this, really, bringing local loops and not trying to solve this kind of impossible global loop, looping.
Yeah, nearshoring is actually one of the things that I think will grow in the coming years, because even by reducing the distance that the product travels while it is being produced around the world, would make a huge change in the carbon footprint of the industry. But about this, the running shoe, which you created completely in a sustainable way from recycled, reused materials, which is incredible given the fact that there are so many different materials needed to make a running shoe that is durable. And as a sports gear company, you have to think about a lot about durability, because like hiking boots, they usually, like mine served me for 10 years before they fell into pieces. So this is something that you always consider. So do you see yourself transition fully to a business model where all your products are created from reused recyclable materials and that they can be recycled further after they have been used?
I guess this is everyone's kind of ultimate goal to be able to do that, to do products that are from recycled materials or renewable materials into recyclable products. And what we've done about the sneaker, the Indexo one, we managed to work very strongly on eco-design so that we can narrow down the number of components and materials. And we came up with a shoe that only has 2 materials, TPU for the bottom unit, and for the upper part it's polyester. And we also managed to integrate 40% of recycled polyester in the upper. Still, we are working towards integrating 100%, of course, of recycled polyester in the upper. And the TPU from the bottom unit is still a virgin TPU, but still, now that we know the process, we have worked on the process and we have learned from it, we can work towards probably recycled TPU at some point, but it's still very, very exploratory, to be honest. And the barrier for us, especially in the sporting goods, is really about performance. When we talk about sustainable materials, we feel it's easier to integrate them in our apparel department than into the really the footwear department, and even more into the hard goods department. So yeah, it is an ultimate goal, but we know we have technology barriers that are going to be very strong, especially on the footwear at some point, but also a lot on the hardware part with ski constraints, ski performance constraints, or ski boots performance constraints. So that's really where we stand now.
Well, the good thing is the technologies are advancing and on a very fast pace. So hopefully your suppliers will be able to provide you with more sustainable solutions in a very near future. What have been the feedback from your audience? And what is actual sustainability? What is the role of sustainability in their decision making when they choose between, for example, your products and your competitors?
Well, the thing is, it's very interesting to work in the outdoor industry, because we can see this rise into the appeal for more sustainable products, and there is something very native to these outdoor communities. It's really linked to our values, to what we want to find when we experience what we do in nature. Being in the mountains or running in the nature, it's really something where you want to be aligned with your values, and you want at some point your gear to support that vision. And so that's something very strong in the communities, and we see that there is an appeal for that. But we still see also that there is quality and price. There are quality and price at the top of the decision making at some point, and sometimes also the time to get the gear, really the lead time to get your gear. So these factors that are very practical, the lead time, the quality, and the price are kind of balancing the decision from our end consumers. And the other thing is that for Salomon specifically, our business model is based 80% on a retailer's model, not direct to consumer. So we are directly in contact with our consumers through only 20% of our business, and the rest is really through the retailers. And I must say that it's super interesting to see the developments of the retailers. They are really pushing us a lot. Recently, we've been really we've been really experiencing a rise, a high number of requests from our retailers, especially Zalando. I mentioned that because, of course, you are leading this transformation of your brand, and we see that it's really pushing us a lot in terms of switching to more sustainable materials. Building a trajectory or path that is understandable to the retailers, bringing also sustainable features that are key to the retailers, because we know that what the retailers pick are what they see from their own end consumers. And so that's really what we see for now as the feedback of our end consumers. If I wanted to add 2 more things, is that The index01 is something that is a pilot that's going to bring a lot of information for us, a lot of learnings. For the moment, we've kind of thrown out the shoe into the world, and we see which consumers are going to buy it. And now we are in this phase that in a few months from now, we are going to see whether people are actually doing this, the gesture of returning the shoe, which is super important. If you want to close the loop physically, at some point you need to have the consumer, take the shoe and bring it back to us. We have a system that is a collection system that is easy. They just have to ship it for free. But still, we have to see what's going to happen with the index01, how many shoes are going to be returned, and which impact we can have on that through the consumer journey. And then from that, there's going to be a lot of learnings on how we can tune these journeys so that the consumers are aware of what they can do, sensitive about what they should do, how they should do it, and how we can understand our consumers. And the last thing I'd like to add about our consumers is that we also look at our consumers not only as consumers, because from the history of Salomon, this is really about a community where we need to share knowledge, to grow together about sustainability. And recently we've launched last spring a new kind of communication, which is called Sustainable Stories. These are kinds of mini web series where we show in a very Salomon way what our progress about sustainability, how we can be transparent about it. And we've been experiencing a lot of positive feedback about that, how we can show what we do in a very transparent way, humble way. We are not perfect. We are not 100% reaching the target yet, but we are on track on working on that. And this transparency has brought a lot of confidence from our communities. And this has been a really great journey to share about what we do.
Laura, here's your turn. So you have been with Zalando since January, which is not too long, but you have been in sustainability industry for quite a while, and you have been one of the pioneers and driving forces behind that. So the company Zalando has embarked on a very ambitious road towards sustainability right before you came there. And what have been the new accomplishments and newly introduced practices, systems in the area of circularity that you can share with us already?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Maria. So our Do More strategy, which is our sustainability strategy, launched back in 2019. And our first circular business model, our re-commerce business, launched in 2018. So we have been doing some work for a number of years. But indeed, when I joined this year, we kicked off our first circularity strategy. And as mentioned in my intro, we've also been building a team and launching several initiatives across the product lifecycle. So in our circularity strategy, we look at 4 stages of the product lifecycle. So design and manufacture, use, reuse, and closing the loop. And we looked at what is our influence in those 4 stages, what is our role as a retailer, and what position can we have in the industry. Also in our strategy, we laid out a very bold North Star that we want to be a fully circular business. It's not a time-bound goal, but it's our commitment to demonstrate that is the direction that the industry needs to head in. That is not even questionable. And of course, we're on that journey together with our partners, brands, customers as well. And essentially, we want to decouple our growth from resource use. So we have a shorter term goal that by 2023, we apply the principles of circularity and extend the life of 50 million fashion items. So if we go stage by stage, the design, manufacture, use, reuse, and closing the loop, and I can give you some examples of what we're doing in each of those 4 stages. So in the design and manufacture stage, what we are doing is we're working with the 3 principles that Marie-Laure mentioned from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. So designing with safe, recycled, renewable inputs, designing for products to last longer, and that products can be made again. We've also partnered with Circular Fashion, which is a Berlin-based startup, to develop our first circular design criteria, which is basically a more granular level of detail below those three pillars of how to design products to reduce their impact on the environment, to ensure that they can technically last longer and that they can be recycled back into new materials or returned to the earth as nutrients. So with this criteria, we use this with our private label business, but also we plan to launch this next year so that our brands, the 4,500 plus brands that sell on Zalando, can also utilize this criteria, which means that we can credibly say a product can be circulated, can be designed to last longer. And then we can tell that story to our customer, which can influence that behavior shift that we need to see. So we tested out this criteria with our private label in a recent collection that we launched called Redesign. And this is a collection that has now around 50 items of men's, women's, and accessories. These products are designed with those principles in mind, and they also have a digital product passport attached to it. So customers can scan a QR code and experience a whole load of new information about where the product was produced, what material it's made out of, how to take care of that item. So, for example, we have videos that customers can engage with, which are how to wash your products at the right temperature, how to store them in the right way, how to repair them at home. That platform also has easy links to our care and repair network, which I'll tell you about in a minute, but also our re-commerce business. So when a customer no longer wants that product anymore, they can trade it into Zalando and it can have a new life with a new owner. And this QR code experience, we've seen great results that customers are spending around 2.5 minutes browsing all of the information, which is actually quite a long time to be sort of experiencing information. What we also saw is that 50% of customers are actually scanning that QR code. So it shows that there is that curiosity. And when they're there in this experience, they want to learn, they're curious, and they want to understand how they can change their behaviors. And we see that consistently throughout our research, that sustainability is continuously top of mind with our customers. So in the use phase, the second phase, this is when a customer owns a product. So we asked ourselves the question, how can we support our customers in extending the life of their existing wardrobe items? And so we recently launched our first care and repair pilot. It's in Berlin currently, where customers can book local services. We will pick up those items from customers. We'll connect them to this local service provider network, which could be the hipster shoe cleaning company or a generation-old repair station in Berlin. And then we deliver those items back to the customer so that they can be worn again and again. So this is our new sort of business model that launched a few weeks ago. We already see some good indication that customers are really, really excited about the quality level that they receive of these repaired products. And we had one customer say, hey, this is like a new product all over again. And it's actually a product that they've owned for a really long time. So just by enabling customers to access services, making it easy, making it educational is a really good way to kind of start that behavioral shift that we need to see in the industry.
Okay, and another thing that since we're speaking more about the customers and how they have to be involved actively in making retail more circular, you have great circularity options as reselling and trading your pre-owned products, but it is a long process. It involves a lot of education and involvement from the customers. So how do you plan to accelerate it, and what has been the feedback, the results of this system so far that you can share with us, of course?
Yeah, so in the reuse stage, this is where we have our re-commerce business. So it's in two parts. We have the Zircle app, which is a peer-to-peer marketplace, and then we have the pre-owned category in our main Zalando experience. So customers can trade in very easily to each one of those different ways of selling their pre-owned items. And what we've seen in the last year is an increase in our assortment size and increase in demand for secondhand items. So we see that customers are actively seeking out secondhand products. They're also actively trading in. And this is sort of a new behavior, particularly for the Gen Z group, where the service economy, the sharing economy is very, very normal for them to consider these different business models. So our e-commerce business is still, relatively new. It's going very well. We're now operating in 13 markets, and we have really good indication that customers like the experience, particularly that they like the fact that they can use their own packaging at home to trade in items. So we don't need to send them new packaging. They can reuse existing packaging, and that if they place an order, it's delivered in paper packaging as well. So there are different ways that this experience has changed our customers' behaviors, and it's really exciting journey that we're on with it.
Yes, I was just commenting that this makes me feel really optimistic, because people they start to think more about that, and they actually look for the options of how to consume in a more circular way. And what has been the other changes in customers' behavior since the pandemic started?
Yes, we have conducted extensive research this year, and we launched it back in April, called the Attitude Behavior Gap. And this essentially highlighted that we have high attitudes from our customers when it comes to different circular business models. But very low action is being taken. And part of that is due to the lack of accessibility, the ease, the convenience in adopting circular business models. But it also shows there's a huge problem to be solved, which is a great opportunity for us to offer these services. Hence why, we offer e-commerce, hence why we're exploring the care and repair service offering. So the key really is about convenience and making it accessible. And what we've also seen with our sort of research during COVID, because of course we're far from saying COVID is a distant memory, unfortunately, but what we have seen is that behaviors are shifting. So we've seen that 71% of customers are indicating a shift towards investing in higher quality garments, and that they are much more interested in circular fashion when it comes to different business models like resale, rental, or refurbishment. And that basically what we're seeing is a good trajectory. This is exactly what we need to see. We have a 45 million active customer base. We have a great potential to reach a large consumer base. And what we want to then make is very educational, accessible, understandable, and unburdened from that sort of weight of, what's the environmental impact of my purchases? What's the environmental impact of these businesses? But actually say, this is the right choice. This is the right business model to adopt. And there's a great opportunity there for storytelling and in bringing our customers on a journey with us.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Laura. This actually sounds exciting, and I'm sure that because as you said, you have 45 million customer base, which is a very big audience, and this is the audience that most of them would listen to what you show them, and you can make like a blueprint for the industry as well. And now I'd like to speak with Ellie, head of sustainability at K11. Which is famous for its hybrid concept of blending retail, culture, and art under one roof. And to me, it sounds exactly like what the next generation of customers is expecting from physical retail experience. So could you please share with us what is the place of sustainability in this concept?
Yes, happy to. Thanks for the question. I think for K11, just for those that are not familiar with the brand, our sustainability journey and touchpoint actually starts before, our retail positioning. So essentially what we're doing here as a brand, K11 provides the brick and mortar for retailers to do business. And similar to, everything I've learned from all the speakers, and I was intrigued by the level of detail in the material science and the different principles that you're referencing in structuring your sustainability initiatives. In the building sector, we have similar standards as well and principles to follow. So on a conglomerate level, we are a developer, a construction contractor, and then K11 comes in to operate the retail malls and the office buildings and service apartments. So we have an advantage and also the obligation to, again, look at supply chain opportunities to, drive sustainability, to decarbonize, and to engage our suppliers to take on higher standards in terms of occupational health and safety, environmental quality in the design stage and the construction stage. But going back to K11 itself, it's really encouraging as a landlord, so to speak, to hear that global retailers are doing so much in diversifying their product lines to accommodate new needs from customers. And I would tweak that question a little bit, because what K11 has been doing is more than just to provide the physical shopping in the mall experience. Maria mentioned earlier that we have been pioneering this concept to basically marry art and commerce and culture and sustainability. What does that really mean? Practically speaking, we're providing certified green and healthy building designs, retail project designs, and enabling our tenants to operate in a sustainable manner. So, our own supply chain as a building operator, we're ensuring our building materials are lower carbon, and we're trying to use technology to optimize our building material use so we can bring down the carbon emissions. But in terms of facilitating our tenants to drive sustainability, I would summarize our work in basically on two levels. On the one level, waste management is a serious topic for retailers, and we understand that, and we start engaging our tenants not during their operation, but from the fitting out stage. So we have something that's sort of like a warm up of a green lease. So basically it's a concept, sort of a contractual agreement between the landlord and the tenant. So upon the tenant's achievement of certain agreed environmental performance indicators, the landlord would reward them in monetary terms or in other forms of rewards. So we launched a warm up version, which we called a sustainable tenancy pledge about 2 years ago in both Hong Kong and in mainland China city, because we know a lot of our tenants, and we work with the whole spectrum from international companies, professional service firms, major international banks, to the luxury brand groups, and even young brands that had never owned a shop, and even pop-up tenants. So we want to engage them and basically give them more like hand-holding support to understand how they can renovate in a more sustainable way, and in their day-to-day, how to reduce their waste, raise their shop managers' awareness, and of course their customers' awareness to avoid waste at the source. But when they do, pursue their daily operation, inevitably there will be waste generated. How do we come in as a landlord to facilitate proper treatment? So it might be worth sort of illustrating the context that we're working in. So different from the EU countries, the legislative definition is less clear. We're sort of a late mover, but we're catching up very quickly because of course, global advocacy of sustainable development, and of course, in the ESG space for corporations. So there are a lot more guidelines for solid waste charging scheme to be effective in Hong Kong, and in different tier 1 cities in mainland China, we already have mandated source separation of waste. But most importantly, going back to the point about a warm-up version of a green lease. This is actually quite exciting and a game changer in the tenancy conversation. It's less so about penalizing or not giving out reward to the tenants that are unable to meet the agreed KPI, so to speak. It's more about a gesture for us to provide support and knowledge exchange, and to create shared value and empower tenants to walk on this journey of sustainability together. So this is, everything I've described so far basically forms the more technical operation part as to, how we drive sustainability for tenants. But the other part is actually the awareness portion, which is equally important. Because one thing K11 emphasizes is our journey of imagination through retail. Our targets are basically millennial customers across China, and this demographic is very interesting. They have more wealth compared to their previous generations. They are craving for cultural experience and exposure to the world, and they're digitally savvy. So we're basically taking note of all these key trends that would attract this specific demographic in curating our customer journey and in attracting tenants that are like-minded. So at every single retail project of K11 across Greater China, we have different academies with different faculties providing, say, group fitness classes, social activities for different tenants to meet each other, DIY, do-it-yourself workshops to promote a repair culture, things like that, and even partnerships to work with different social enterprises in the region. One of them is actually also famous in Europe, called Redress. So we have different take-back boxes to, encourage our shoppers and our tenants to donate off-season or pre-loved clothes so that we can give them a new life. But more recently, we try to be quite creative in sort of marrying the two layers, the operational, the technical part, and also the awareness part. So I mentioned that, in Hong Kong, we're expecting more and more upcoming legislation. But at this point, we're sort of in the transitional period. So one of the key legislation that's going to come up is municipal solid waste charging scheme, which would be a clear policy signal for different tenants to, separate different recyclables at the source, and for landlords to provide support to make sure they're, actually handled properly. So as a pilot, we welcomed an organization in Hong Kong that rescues waste plastic and upcycle them into different merchandises. We have engaged over 30 fashion tenants at K11 Musea, which is our very iconic project in Hong Kong, a retail project, and we collected waste plastics that were generated from the daily operation of these tenants, sent to our partner, the social enterprise, which has employed elderly waste pickers. So this is a little bit of a local flavor as well, because in Hong Kong, traditionally, we do rely on a lot of elderly waste pickers to sort different plastics, pick up different cardboard, and send them to the recyclers. But oftentimes, these elderly are not working in very ideal conditions. They could be, wheeling a cart uphill, carrying heavy buckets of waste, and their livelihood is not exactly guaranteed. So this social enterprise intervened by guaranteeing a fair wage, a clean and safe working environment for these grandpas and grannies to sort the plastic waste, and then they bring the sorted waste to upcycle as umbrellas. So we created these circular umbrella under the name of K11 to tell a story, to basically bring a lot of the technical work that we do on the group level and on the retailer level to life, and to raise awareness of climate change. And this particular umbrella is gifted to the tenants that participated in this pilot initiative, and we sell it on our e-commerce platform to raise awareness. So we do, look forward to innovating even more by bringing in different tech partners, public sector partners to help us solve these environmental and social issues.
So many questions I would love to ask, but I have to limit myself because we have limited time. So I would like to focus on circularity, is that you use the redress program. And actually, what happens to the clothes that people can bring in for further reuse? Do you send them to the fabrics that recycle them, or what happens to them?
Based on my understanding, redress does a few things. One, the clothes that are in better conditions may go to their sales, so they operate different shops as well. This is their new business model. But for other pieces, they would break it down into yarn and perhaps, upcycle into new fashion items. But separately, actually, in our hospitality brand, we recently sent some of our old linens and towels to, be upcycled as merchandise as well.
Okay, thank you. And another question, you mentioned a bit about the millennials being your target audience, and the millennials and Generation Z, they are, people say that those generations of customers, they will change the whole way the industry operates because their expectations are very different. So what are the key factors that draw millennials and Gen Z to the malls, and especially to K11 Museum today? And how do you track them? What is your plan to keep attracting them even more?
Yeah, I think you have answered the question. It's about attracting them and tracking them. So I think one of the key characteristic of this generation is their tendency to use digital means. So as you know, a mall operator and a company, we have to be quite savvy in providing a more seamless transition between online and offline. So of course, you know, e-commerce will be a bigger component of what we do, but it's not only for the landlord to sort of create a platform. We have to find ways to onboard our tenants so we can share the service as well. So one of our more recent innovation is to create our own currency. So in different retail projects, or at least in Asia, it's quite common that we have these loyalty programs. But even to date, we're seeing a lot of our peers and competitors still using paper voucher or little stamp cards, which are not exactly digitally friendly. So seeing that trend, we try to catch up to the newer generation by going completely paperless. So we have a mobile app that covers all of our projects in Hong Kong and in mainland China. And the currency that we use, which is called K-dollar, is essentially a currency that our tenants, employees can spend at different retailers. And then we also utilize this at businesses beyond K11. So, our, say, residential property residents can use this to pay their property management fee. So features like that would, I guess, be more suitable for the millennials lifestyle. And the app is not just for collecting points. I think we have to have novel content. So frequent content update is also important to this generation. They want to make sure every time they visit the physical building, they're learning something new. And there are different regular art exhibitions, sustainability tours, and just a curated journey to sort of stimulate their senses and ensure that they have something to take home.
And perhaps engage with some AR and VR technologies in the future as well. Well, this sounds exciting, and thank you very much, Ellie, and all the wonderful speakers today for your time for this conversation. It has been a big pleasure to speak with you two here, to learn from you quite a lot. And I'm sure, of course, we are free to continue the dialogue further. And I think that there might be some ideas cross speakers here. Yes, thank you very much. And enjoy the rest of your days and the Circular Fashion Summit this year in VR.
Thank you so much for joining the panel talks. Feel free to visit the galleries, the Impact Design Hub, and the Innovation Hub.